It's the original.
Coming out. Welcome to another episode of Trapped Out Sports Talk. You got your co-hosts with you tonight, Coach Trap, your boy T Frank.
What's
We
good,
got this
folks?
GOAT
What's
talk
good?
for y'all tonight. We about to get after it. We got NFL GOAT talk first. But before we do that, we want to lay down a little bit of ground rules. At the end of the day, we're not trying to disrespect anybody we talking about. We just giving our opinion on everything that we speaking about. And every opinion that we have, we got facts to pretty much follow up why we feel the way we feel on every opinion that we have. So just to reiterate, we're not trying to disrespect nobody, we're just giving our opinion. And with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. GOAT Talk, NFL. Our matchup tonight is safety talk. We got Ronnie Lott versus Woodson. I'm going to let the homie T Frank go first with this one tonight.
This one, it's kind of a tough, it's basically a pick 'em with them two. Both was able to transition from corner to safety, but I went with Rod. I guess you would say I took the speed over the tackling ability. His ability to run with some of the fastest receivers of that era, it made his transition because he came out of college as a safety. He transitioned to corner where he won his Player of the Year award, Defensive Player of the Year award. His speed, I guess, I'm a speed guy, I would say. So I took the speed, his ability to run and cover, basically the best of that era. I kind of took that over Ronnie Lott's ability to knock somebody out in his era. So, like I said, it's basically a real toss up between the two. You're either taking the ability to tackle, because I would say Ronnie is a better tackler, but I would give the edge in coverage to Rod, being that he was a lot faster and had better footwork. You can look at the numbers and take some of the numbers, but I would think most of the numbers lean towards Rod because I want to say he played longer than Ronnie. So I would assume that most of the numbers would lean towards the guy that played longer. But if we're just looking at their prime years, they're basically the same player to me. One was just faster than the other.
But for this one, I had to go with Ronnie Lott. Truthfully, when I really dug down and really just looked at it a little deeper, Ronnie Lott was the most complete defensive back of all time. Just a couple stats to go into that. He was an all-pro at three different positions in the secondary. He was an all-pro at corner, all-pro at free safety, all-pro at strong safety. He had 23 interceptions at corner in 5 seasons. In those 5 seasons, he had 4 Pro Bowls and 1 All-Pro. Then he moved to free safety. He had 25 picks in his first 4 years at free safety. He had 32 interceptions total at free safety and made 5 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros at free safety. He had 7 seasons where he had 5 or more interceptions. And we talking about most complete. He had 5 seasons where he had over 100 tackles. 5 seasons with 100 plus tackles on top of all of that stuff. He had his pinky amputated so he could play in the 1985 playoffs. He made All-Pro 5 times without his pinky after his pinky got amputated. And on top of that, one of the hardest hitters all time. So even with just being the most complete, making all those plays, he used to knock people to sleep. You know what I mean? You did one come across the middle. Everybody knew about that Ronnie Lott, that forearm. You knew what you was going to get.
As far as complete defensive backs, you can't have that discussion without Rod Woodson's name being mentioned amongst the most complete DBs. You're just taking one best attribute in Ronnie Lott's case is his ability to tackle, and you're getting Rod Woodson's ability to be fast.
When I think more about Rod Woodson, I mean, he was definitely a much faster athlete. When I think about him at corner, you know what I mean, in my opinion, it was like Deion Sanders without the flash. And on top of that, he was a way better tackler. Very blitz out the corner, excellent blitzer off the corner. Then when he moved to free safety, it was the same stuff. Straight playmaker, straight dog, straight blazer. He could cover anybody, and he could blitz. He could hit. Shoot, truthfully, Rod Woodson might be the most complete corner ever. all time, truthfully. Shaquille O'Neal versus Hakeem Olajuwon. So since the homie T Frank went first on the NFL Go Talk, I'm gonna take first one on this one. For me personally, this one was definitely tough because if I'm picking centers all the time, picking one for my team, then Hakeem is my starting center all the time. But for this one right here, I mean, we had to go. We're going toe to toe. We're going head to head. I picked Shaq for this one. So I'm going to go on and defend Shaq. So when I think back on Shaq, when I go look at the numbers, 25-point games, 10 rebound games, Hakeem had 560. Shaq had 605. We talked about that career high in points. Hakeem's career high is 52. Shaq's career high is 61. We talk about career high rebounds. Hakeem's career high is 25. Shaq's is 28. We talk about career high in blocks. Hakeem's is 12. Shaq's is 15. We talk about scoring titles. Hakeem has 0. Shaq has 2 scoring titles. Final MVPs. I know I'm nitpicking with this one, but still, Shaq got 3. Hakeem got 2. We talk about playoff double-doubles. Hakeem has 145. Shaq has 216. When I think back more on those two, just Shaq was more dominant offensively. Hakeem was a way better defender, way better shot blocker. Hakeem was a beast at scoring too, but Shaq was more dominant at that. When they at that facet of the game, when we talking about low post scoring, I don't know if I ever seen somebody do people the way that I seen Shaq do people. I'm thinking about everybody. I seen Shaq dunk on everybody. I seen Shaq humiliate everybody. Everybody.
He, would block some shots, and sometimes, nights in, he would take nights off on the defensive end, basically. There's no disputing the offense. But I would tend to think that that would be more in the sense of because of the workload that Hakeem would carry on the defensive end. He was burning more energy. Offensively, Shaq definitely has the edge. But as an overall complete player, since basketball is played on both ends, it's by far Hakeem Olajuwon because of his ability to not only command the paint, but he also was a better rebounder than Shaquille O'Neal.
All right, next topic, next topic. Moving on to this Kings talk. Everybody know, me and the homie T Frank, we Kings fans. All about the years.
Canes for life, baby. You see it. You see it everywhere we go. Yeah, I don't think I done did a show yet without having some Kane something on, Kane hat on or
Yeah,
something. But we gonna
bro,
rock.
we canged up. The Kings topic for the evening is best Kings wide receiver of all time. So I'm gonna let the homie T Frank go first on this
I went with Santana Moss, man. Like he came when we were kind of at a downtime in the program history. Sanctions had just hit. We lost a lot of guys, left early for the NFL, so we had a lot of young guys that had to come in and get straight in the fire, and he was one of those guys. He worked, he grind every year. He got better, and by his senior year, he was the Big East Player of the Year. He had several records. I want to say that still standing today. Maybe one or two have failed, but I want to say he had the all-purpose yards record, like single season all-purpose yards record. To me, he made a lot of plays in crucial moments for us. I'm not saying he wasn't talented or flashy like some of the other guys, because we seen him make the plays and pop that helmet off and run to a camera just like all the other greats. So that wasn't necessarily what stood him out. What stood him out was when we was in our lowest points, he was one of the stars or bright spots we had on the roster. I feel like it's a lot easier to shine when you're surrounded by a boatload of other talent everywhere. But when it's just basically you, one, three other guys, and y'all ain't, and that's it. We ain't got no depth behind. Those four guys can easily be focused on and worn down over the course of a game. And in some of our biggest moments, you would even go back there and, hey, we'll take this kick to the house. So he is tied with Devin Hester for the record for that, even though he wasn't a full-time return guy. That was an added dimension that he brought to our team that, you know, kind of contributed to the legend of Santana Moss, because there were plenty of games where we needed a big kick return, and hey, what you gonna do? Kick it to him, or you gonna kick it out of bounds? A lot of teams chose to, make the mistake of kicking it to him. Some kicked it out of bounds, but that was why I went with Santana. He was a big time player in a very down time in the team's history. So
In my opinion, Andre Johnson. I say Andre Johnson because when I think back on it, Andre Johnson was the highest drafted receiver in Canes history. 6'3", 230 pounds, a 4'4" flat 40, 39-inch vertical. He's fifth all time in career receiving yards. He's third all time in career touchdown catches. He was the co-MVP of the national championship win over Nebraska with 7 catches for 199 yards and 2 touchdown catches. He has the third most receiving yards in the season in Canes history. He led the national championship team in receiving yards and touchdown catches. For the Canes, he has the third most touchdown catches in the season, all time. And if you really think back on it, Andre Johnson was the best receiver on the greatest college football team of all time. Hard to really go against a lot of that stuff. Just to reiterate on a couple of things I said, Andre Johnson was the highest drafted one out of all of those guys. I mean, he was a freak, route running, hands, dunk on you, run past you, stiff arm the crap out of you, everything, the whole nine. I mean, special player. Right, that's our show for tonight, everybody. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time. Trapped Out Sports Talk. Got your co-host is Coach Trap, your boy T Frank. We're gonna get at y'all next time.
yes, sir. Peace. Be safe out here.